All right. So thank you all for checking in a little bit and sharing. Ms. Mary, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Marion Cook. I've been in Columbus a long time and I'm interested in your workshop.
Okay.
Letting me in.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for being here. We're all, I think I try to do what I have done, rather a standalone workshop, so anybody is welcome at whatever time they have. Yeah, so this, let me pull up my slides. And then, so today is session 5. Yes, so I made sure when I was doing my slides to make sure I had the right date or the right day. Okay. And today I do want to have more time for writing if possible. Let me present and
Mary's joining us now too.
say that again, Casey.
And Mary's joining us now too.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me just pause this. All right, so today's session 5 out of 7 or 8. So we'll just do a check-in. We kind of already did that warm-up discussion writing exercise, and we'll read. I do have 2 poems today as well, possibly a third that we can pick from. And then we'll write and share. And I do hope to plug in a good 30 minutes of writing and to wrap up by 1:30, just to be respectful of people's times and whatnot. So that's the plan. And yeah, I think if we do have another, did you say Miss Mary's joining us, Casey?
Yeah, it's
Connecting.
It's stuck though, so we'll see.
No worries.
Okay.
So I'm trying to, like, one of the things I was encouraged to do was have my workshops not be so thematically diverse. I say that like in a really nice way, but it's hard for me because I'm like neurodivergent, so that is not how my brain works. So I tried to like see how I could connect it to the last conversation, but we can just do maybe 2 minutes of writing just to get, you know, your, I guess, juices going, and then we can share out for a few minutes. But thinking of your own history, or of our, I should say of your own, but of our own history, what is memory and how does it shift and change? And however you want to interpret that, I think it will be an interesting conversation. So let's just spend 2 minutes writing there, and then we'll come back together and share, and just, I not share, really just have a discussion and see how that goes.
For the new ones, can you kind of give them an idea about what they should?
Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can, let me see if I can go all the way back, and just, yes, give an idea of what, like, I guess that was appropriate for me to do earlier. Give an idea of what is the setup of the workshop, what we're doing and all of that. Give me 1 second. I have those slides as well, because I know we did that.
Okay, but currently we're going to write about our own history. What is memory and how does it shift and change?
Yes, yeah.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, because we talked about history last time, and then community, and I mean, I know that it's been a lot of themes, but yeah, for those of you who are just new, that will be or just joined in, that will be the agenda. Is we'll have a check-in where we kind of journal a little bit, have a conversation, and we read a couple poems, and then we transition to writing time. And at the end, if people are interested and willing to share about their process or what they wrote, they're welcome to do that. But each workshop that we've done kind of stands alone. And this is a series of workshops that are just tied together by the people, honestly, not necessarily the theme or the topic. And I am very privileged and grateful to be leading them and to be in this space with all of you. And I think, I don't know if that's what you wanted, Miss Linda, or I maybe you just wanted 1 sentence and I gave a whole paragraph of intro, but.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, and I can always share at the end, like what this workshop is more about and whatnot. But yeah, let's start there, and then we'll just come back here in about 90 seconds or so if people just want to write a few sentences. All right, let's do another minute or so, and then we will come back and share. All right, who would like to kind of just start this short dialogue?
The nice thing about gallery view is that I don't catch you staring at me, expecting me to do it.
No, I didn't. I do have that intention often, but that's only when there's an awkward pause. So whoever else would want to share, I feel like I wrote an academic response or something as if this was like an essay prompt, but yeah, whoever wants to share, Ms. Cook, if you want to share.
My memories are not written in stone. When talking to my family about certain occasions and who did or who said what, it all differs. I think you can only remember what is significant to you. As to how relevant or important was that memory? Hurtful, helpful, kind, pleasant, or mean? Did it change anything? It's all a perspective thing, subject to personal observations.
Okay, very interesting.
Mhm.
Other thoughts?
I'll go.
Well, can I make a comment
Go
on
ahead.
what Marion said? I think it's a very good point that you think again on whether your memory, whether what happened was kind or not kind or whatever. And that's a process of cultivating our character and our morality. And that's a very useful way to use memory. I really like that. The thought of thinking back, not just on the detail of what happened, but put it in a light of, was it kind? Was it not? Can I do better by, my fellow humans or whatever? Anyway, that was a really good, useful thing. I'm going to remember that going forward.
Yeah. And I kind of wrote basically a short essay type answer because, and it dovetails all those things because personal and world history is ever changing because it occurs daily. And then we view it through, it changes because we view it through the lens of current thought and mores. I mean, what we used to do and thought was right, if we look at it from today's eyes, was wrong and should be changed. And then basically that the history should be journaled as it happens for the most factual interpretation.
That is that's more academic-ishy sounding than mine. I don't think I think I responded more emotionally about like I feel like, when we think as conceptually as humans, or just think like pragmatically, not conceptually, we like often have this refer to the negative, and that's why like gratitude practices are really important, because it's not how we innately think. And then I also thought about how memory is associated like with a positive connotation. Like when we think of memory, people don't think of like being bullied, right? Even though that is a memory or whatever, a situational memory. And so I think like if memory is positive and we associate positive things with it, then like how does that shift or make something more glamorous or less glamorous, which is not at all what any of you mentioned, but that's kind of where I went with it. Other thoughts on really anything that was shared on Casey and Miss Linda? Anybody really is welcome to chime in. I know we had another person join as well, so I'd like to invite whoever wants to kind of jump into that, and then we can go into some reading.
Well, I'll follow on because what I wrote was really a different version of what Karen wrote. I said, my memories change with time as new memories overlay them and change the meaning of what I thought was true. It is a revisionist history of life, but life always is. When we stop revising, we have reached the end of how to use our minds and memory. So it's the same point that Karen made, just put it in a different way.
Yeah. I'm really glad you brought that up, because one of the things I was thinking about too was like radically reimagining. And I think about that as future, like radically reimagining a future where like we all belong, right? And we're healed and, just like driven in this like very transformational, positive unity kind of culture. But yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that, Miss Lucia, because then now it makes me reaffirm that we should talk about that next. Yeah, and not even as a radically reimagining what we could be. Like,
106, please. Dollar for 106.
are you in trouble, Miss Linda?
No, I'm good.
Somebody paged you. Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I also think, well, how can we radically reimagine what was, right? And so yeah, I'm anyways, just inspirational feedback that I am moved by what you said, and it confirms I should probably do what I wanted to do next time. Other thoughts? All right, and then if anybody has to leave early, let me know. I mean, it doesn't like if you want me to share anything else with you before you leave, but I know some people have to leave at a certain time and we want to get through certain things, so I'm happy to do that. If we want to make sure we get through poems. So today the topic, I mean, again, I have like 7 different sub themes, and this one was around memory. So the poems that I found, I kept one of them from last time. It doesn't really fit. It could fit. These other ones are like a different topic area or whatever. Maybe the content is significantly different, but let me let's pick between these, any of these really. It doesn't matter to me what we do. So I kept the Audre Lorde one that we had last time because we never discussed it, and again, it is heavy and it is about it doesn't have violence references to murder specifically in it, and then the other 2 are like, I'm not going to say they're talking about roses or anything, but yeah, the other one is from a local author, and then also June Jordan. So yeah, I also forgot to delete my note that says focus on dying and nostalgia. All right, does any of this resonate? I know, Miss Lucia, you're always excited about my poems. Makes me feel really good that I didn't pick horrible ones that are too much in intensity. Did you want to read a specific one?
Yeah, I'm always up for going with our local guy, Hanif. So
okay, yeah, and I actually asked Hanif if he was available to like come on one of these, and he said not until May. So, but he is a
busy man.
Yeah, that's true. But I am, as Karen has implied, a really big fan of Hanif's work, and his mentorship and his intentional commitment to community, especially the community he grew up in, which is like the Near East Side. So yeah, and I think he still lives in the Near East Side. Let me pop this one out. And there's like a bunch of poems on there, and Karen, I thought about you as well, because he has like, I don't know what this one is called, but the poem where you can read like,
yeah, I'm so glad you didn't choose that one. When I pulled that page up, I was like, thank goodness it's the one below it.
Yeah, but I thought about you when I pulled up this page as well, because I was like, oh, different techniques, and this is a similar one.
I mean, I love that poem, the way, because you can read it all the different ways, but I'm like, oh, that's pretty tough to tackle.
Yeah. And this one, he says the ghost of Marvin Gaye sits in the ruins of old Livingston Flea Market and considers monogamy. But the one that, which is very much not necessarily tied to memory, but something specific, even though these are all memory based. So this last one is Welcome to Heartbreak. And I want to make sure you all can see it. And Karen, are you able to drop it in the chat? I sometimes can't see the chat when I'm sharing my screen. You don't mind.
To drop the link in the chat?
Yeah, for those who have, yeah.
Yeah, because I've got it on another page. Let's see here.
Or let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so whoever wants to read this, I tried to make it a little bit bigger, and actually I'll make it larger. But this is, again, a local poet. I'm happy to link to his work. It's all over the place. And he has multiple books out and such as well. So yeah. Who would like to read? Should we pick some new people? Miss Marion, do you want to read?
I'm only getting a smaller version. I'm on Zoom on my phone and I don't have gallery view.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It is, the poem itself is like a paragraph.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll try to.
Okay.
Well, heartbreak. It is the version of me fading in photos that I most wish to dance with. Just once before the coughing black makes a ghost of him. No one asks me to smile these days, so here is my mouth. Again, a straight line, border. I had a good border falling between ocean and thirst. I thumbed the edges of the picture frame and considered the wood. What tree had to fall in order for this younger and smiling version of myself to have a home? It is the killing season again. All of the flowers drag the crowns of their heads along the snow and die with a prayer of softer ground on their lips. I wish this type of betrayal on no one being born out of that which will be your undoing. Imagine instead the place where you have a bed of your own and a table to sit across from, someone who laughs thick and echoing at your smallest joy as an open palm, and then the fingers close. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely beautiful. And I'm glad I didn't read it out loud, or had not had it read out loud to me. So I feel like it's even more touching. Yeah, and I'm curious to let it sit with folks and then see how this poem resonated, or what you even interpreted out of it, because it's very smooth, but then it also has a shift. But yeah, it has a lot of grace to it and extreme depth, which is, I think, common of Hanif's work.
His name is Hanif.
Yeah.
Hanif Adorakib.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's like an native Columbus Black writer and poet. He does a lot of music. I don't know, I'll let Karen describe. I don't want to say musical criticism, but maybe commentary. A lot of his work is around that.
He does a lot of essays.
Yeah, especially if you're into, like he has essays on multiple musicians and groups and such. And so I wonder if and it's across different decades and generations of music. And so it's very interesting work. And then he obviously writes poems as well. That line, I'm like reading it 5 times already. I wish this type of betrayal on no one, being born out of that which will be your own undoing. And I wonder like what that means to you all, like literally and metaphorically, and how you process that. I felt like that line, it's really sticking with me.
Well, I think more along the lines of of homelessness, he says, I want to have a table of my own and a bed of my own. That wish is universal amongst all people, some place to call your own.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But did you interpret the line before that as also talking about that, being born out of that which will be your own undoing?
I thought that that referred more back to the line before that with the flowers that
Flowers. Yeah.
drag the crowns of their heads along the snow and die with a prayer of softer ground on their lips. That basically they were born out of the dirt and the snow, and they will die
In return.
in the snow and dirt.
Yeah, yeah. I also associated with the flower line.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's I don't want to say it's like maybe juxtaposition isn't the right word, but it talks about flowers, right? And then betrayal. And it's the reference to the flowers and the petals, you know, I know it's not the petals, but the crowns of their heads is so gentle. And it's such a like gentle, intimate visual and description. Other thoughts, Casey? I don't know how you felt about this poem, especially as somebody who writes lyrics. Sorry to put you on the spot. And no pressure for anybody to share, but yeah, other thoughts on this poem in terms of just the craft, right? Like what literary techniques and styles did he use? How did he juxtapose his images, right? Transition the emotional piece. Like where did the tenderness come from? Those are all questions that kind of come to mind.
I'd like to circle back to what Mary said about the universal desire for a bed of your own and a table to sit across. And if you look at the poem then as a whole entity, you see how he crafted it. He let the title do so much of the work that the last line completes. That basically imagine instead a place where you have a bed of your own and a table to sit across from someone who laughs thick and echoing as your smallest joy as an open palm, and then a nice beat for you to think about it, the fingers close. Welcome to the heartbreak. What you have what you want, and then the fingers close around it, and there you welcome to heartbreak.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's only, I thought of it as so temporal, you know what I mean? Like it's not temporal, but so temporary, right? Like it's just the open palm and you like a little kid, and then you close it and it's gone in an instant.
And that closed fist can either be just hiding it from you, or it could be destroying what you have wanted.
Yeah. I also thought about capturing, but I know it's not alluding to that. You know what I mean? Like capturing the memory. Like, you know, when I think of like a little kid that tries to capture a bug or something, you know what I mean? And then hold it.
It's
Other
like-
thoughts? Go ahead, sorry, Karen.
It's like catching a butterfly, and if you hold it too close, you could break its wings.
Yeah.
And this is what I get from him. It's like he welcomes the spring and he regrets to see it go and come to. He's got a lot of sadness captured in these words.
How do you connect the first part to the last part, where he's looking at the fading picture of himself and then says, you know, what tree died to make that? I don't exactly see. I don't know. It's two thoughts in there to me. Do you all see it as one thought? I see it as two thoughts.
Yeah, the examining of the picture and then examining the frame. It's like a stream of consciousness thing, where you start out by looking at the picture, and then your brain goes over to the side and says, oh, I wonder how this frame was made, what this wood was about. And then he switches to the next thought, which is it's the killing season
Nature.
again. And he talks about nature. So, yeah.
I also, you know, the bed could also connect to wood and a table. Like I'm thinking very cabin-like, even though I know that's not what he's necessarily going for. But yeah, I think it is Miss Lucia, two different ideas, but I saw that as well, because when it refers to like, you know, but I think it could be even three, like the photo, the nature, and then this memory, right? But I think all of that, because even the, you know, he's thinking about a time when he was happy, and that's the photo. And then because he's still in his depression or longing sadness of loss, it's like goes to like, you know, you can't hold on to that for too long, I guess. So it goes to like, oh, well, look at this wood. And then it goes to something negative. Not negative, but you know what I mean? Like goes back to this idea of loss, like the tree lost its life, and look at these flowers, and it is winter, and I am also here. Yeah, but it is sometimes in his pieces, he doesn't necessarily always have punctuation either, but yeah, if you want to read them as two separate ones, I wonder if it would sit with you differently, you know?
Mm.
And I also wonder, Karen and others, everybody who read this, like what is he saying about the flowers as relating to himself? Is he also being born out of that which will be his own undoing? You know, I don't know if it's literal, like the cycle of birth, but I don't think that's what it's going for. And again, it could be nothing to do with it, because it says imagine instead, taking you somewhere else.
I don't know, with the flower imagery, I kind of caught a glimpse of sometimes like what we come out of, you know, our neighborhoods, our family, and we may look or strive for something better, and yet we'll still get dragged back in by your neighborhood, your family circumstances.
Very interesting. Yeah, that made me think of like the rose that grew from concrete. I don't know if that's what you were going for. Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. Very interesting. I just thought about, you know, like the cycle of like, you know, you have the bloom, and then you know what I mean? Like you can't, it goes back to this, you can't hold on to something forever, right? Like the flower can't show its petals and bloom forever. So in the same way, you can't hold on. So that's how I connected it, Miss Lucia. Just like, you know, it's like a flowering love, like eventually it's going to die. You know, that actually sounds very,
The line about being born out of that which will be your own undoing just means we're human. Everybody who's born is going to die.
Yeah.
We come with a body that decays, it dies. So that thought leads me to wonder what is this bed and table? Is that something about a next life, about what is that something, you know, that comes after this cycle of life where we're born and we die? I don't know. Is it something optimistic he's putting out there, or?
Yeah, and then it could, and if you look at it like that, then you could say that you hold the memory and capture it and just treasure it for, you know what I mean, versus it doesn't have to turn into something going back into making one feel blue. Yeah, I thought about the bed and the table as wood, and the idea of like killing, but you know, how in that sense it would be more comforting or comfortable, but very, yeah. I mean, I guess you can look at it, you know, religiously too, right? The idea of a table, and you know, there's those, yeah, the food and.
Well, that's it. It had a slight religious feel to me of a next, wherever the next is.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has their own feeling about it, but.
You know, I maybe because I know something of his life, but that's where I got the flower illusion, that, you know, what you come from and what you aspire to, and then what you basically return to. And the table and someone to share companionship with is an ideal, a thing that people are aspiring to, and that he had it, and then, you know, this family, and then it gets taken away, the hand closes. So I kind of saw that longing in there.
I think it has a biblical approach, like man born a woman's days are few and those are full of trouble. And he's put all these troubles. He went to nature, he went to himself, he went to lack, he's tried to cover a lot of areas in this one poem, this one essay. He don't want anyone to look at him, and he just don't want to smile, and he's sad, and then he has hope, and then he wants a table and someone to sit across from him, and it's very melodramatic.
Yeah, it does. It does cover a lot of territory, and it does it so well, it's so gentle.
Yes, it is. It's a good poem, but I mean, it's a good essay, but it covers too much room. And I would hate to be a psychiatrist talking to him like, well, can we just focus on one thing? Now, what do you want?
The finger, and then the fingers close, to me, it is an image of some sort of death. I mean, that's the first thing that came into my mind. Rigor mortis sets in, the fingers sort of close. I don't know. Closing on that line suggested death to me.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that it was your physical death. It was the death of an ideal.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, imagine you had the table and the companionship, and then the fingers close and take it away from you, and that's welcome to the heartbreak.
Okay, that's a good.
Yeah. I see that more in it now that you say it. Yeah.
And he wants to fade in the photos, and why would you want to fade? And then you want to dance. No one asked me to smile, and I want to see a younger smiling version of myself. He is really crossing a whole lot of bridges. He's doing a whole life breakdown of either joy, sometimes sadness, and no optimism. He said the fingers close.
Well, most of the time, even though we hope they don't, things get taken away from us, things and people and relationships and fortunes, and and sometimes the heartbreak is in being optimistic for something and then having it taken away.
But isn't that life? Man didn't come here to stay. Man born a woman, days are few, and those are full of trouble.
Yeah, but most of us hope for a blessed life without trouble while we're here.
Yeah, I think the idea of like aspiring for more, I think, versus the reality. I think that's, because everybody wants connection and belonging, right? So yeah.
But we want it permanently, and nothing is permanent.
Yes, that's true. That's why I think temporary. I think that's why he talks about the flower and the wood, and you know what I mean, and how like there's a dualness to everything. Yeah, like the yin and the yang. Like even the wood. He's
going through seasons of change, and that's life.
And even the photograph is a captured memory. He would like to be that child in the photo in happier time. So even though nobody asked him to smile in it, and so he didn't.
He paints a good picture. He says between the oceans of thirst and I don't know what else.
The ocean and thirst.
An ocean, having a lot and then nothing.
He does have other poems that have more of a religious reference. I can always link to those. And I say it like I know all his poems. But yeah, I'll let Karen speak more to it, but I'm also interested in, like this, he just has a lot of diversity in his content. Like he has an entire book about growing up, the way he grew up, which is not about, it's about loss of gentrification, your neighborhood, your family and society, but also about growth. And so this one, I think, stood out to me more, even though it has more of a melancholy, I assume a romantic association with it rather than like losing a friend or, but there's a lot of loss, I think, throughout his poems, which is maybe the way he processes.
He lost his mother when he was 14. So
Oh.
if that helps you understand him any.
How old was he when he wrote this poem? Is this a recent poem? I don't know about this.
Oh, let's see if that has a date on it.
I don't know if I was thinking the same thing in relation to his other, I think it's 2015, it was probably in his 20s or 30s because it says 2016.
Yeah.
But actually,
He's
I
still a
don't
young
know.
man.
It could be recent. What do you think, Karen? I'm just looking at his bio here.
No, I have a feeling that these are either from The Crown Ain't Worth Much or They Can't Kill Us Till They Kill Us. So yeah, it's some of his earlier work, but it's not the work that he was doing back when he was on Slam stage.
Yeah, I don't recognize this one from The Crown Ain't Worth Much, but that could just be me. Yeah, you asked that question last time too, Miss Lucia, and I'm like, we should, because I also wonder, could it be an old poem? No, I mean, I like it. And the question's important, like, because I submit poems. This poem was published in 2017, but I don't know if it is from 2017, or this series of poems that he has was published in 2017.
Okay, but the bottom line is he is at all stages of this poetry, a fairly young man, under 40.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he
Okay.
is.
All right. And I think he will change. So we were talking about, memories change, you get old, and you see things differently. This speaks to me of a young person trying to come to grips with mortality and things changing in his life.
Yeah, I think his
It's an
stuff
intimate
does
look
change. Yeah.
at his thinking, but
Yeah.
I see it as the thinking of a younger person. It's great imagery. Yeah, I love the thing about what tree had to fall. That really makes a statement about where we stand in nature and life and the universe. And
Yeah, he has some of his work also explores like historical, I shouldn't say historical, but like Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, so he talks about them as musicians and artists. And so I wonder how you'd feel after reading those in terms of like understanding the scope of his work. Yeah. I don't know if you're an Aretha Franklin fan, but I can see if we can pull something along those lines. But I also didn't want to go to another poem after this because the June Jordan poem I have is like, the style is very different. And it doesn't have this melancholy type feel. So I almost wondered, because this is a lot in one poem as was mentioned, that we pause and then like kind of transition to the writing here. And I can always put the other poems in the chat, including his other poems that he has that have more like spiritual references.
And yeah, Miss Lucia, he's 38.
38. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think, speaking as an old lady, when you're young, you rail against, so many things in life that are hard to come to grips with your own mortality. You see your family pass away. And then as you age, I think you become more accepting. What did Marion say? Our days on this earth are few and full of trouble, and you just sort of accept that because you see so much of it. As you age, you see so much sorrow and death and unfairness for so many people in the world. And so it's great for me as an old person to read the poetry of this young person and get a glimpse again. We all see ourselves in that. Us older people, I think, see ourselves in that when we were younger. And it helps me understand and relate to what people are saying and doing today, younger people. This is great.
Yeah, and as Karen mentioned, he's local and he lives local. He's very committed to community. So
but he
Yeah.
hasn't always been local, and his career has taken him to
Yes.
astronomical places. His personal life has taken him to places where things have been brand new to him, because he lived in Connecticut for a while. And then he writes for MTV, and then he writes his own essays. And so he's very, very much into the musical culture and the behind the scenes in that. So
I'm wondering when I looked at this and all of the words that you guys have said, and the wood, and if we look at it with the wood dying, or the wood had to be cut down, and the wood was cut down and put in a picture that brings him joy. So what had to die to bring me joy? When I have my own bed, that's joyful. But what had to die so that I can have my own bed? Now here's a table that, to create that table, something had to die. And I'm sitting across from it with someone that I like and enjoys my company. I'm enjoying theirs, and we're enjoying ourselves. But in a moment notice, that can close and die. So I kind of see the dichotomy of the things that, joy and pain, the things that brings me joy and provide some joy for me. Something had to die. I mean, I love my beautiful flowers and crocuses that are on the ground now, but I know real soon they're going to die. But I've got this joy right now in looking at them, and they're gorgeous. But it won't be long before those flowers that, they're going to drag the ground and die. Everything that we have brings us joy, but it dies. And some things that died bring us joy, like a bed.
Other thoughts? Thank you for sharing, Mary.
let's see.
All from
Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here
So
you
I wanted to ask, if we don't have anything else, I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't share anything else, but if we don't have anything else to share right now, do we want to transition to the writing for 25-ish minutes? I want 30 minutes, but I think we'll be pushing it if we want to end on time. Does that work for everybody? And we can, again, like, I just keep the poems as an inspiration source or a model. I mean, his is maybe not, model is not the right word, but think of a memory, and then, I tied in sensory details. We talked about sensory details once in a former session, metaphor, and then vivid imagery. I don't know if I added that. Maybe I just put sensory details, but I should have put vivid imagery. So any of those, do you want to, how you tie those in, however that works, and then we can meet back here and see what we want to share.
tough prompt, Fariha.
I know, I was like, would I want to be in this writing workshop? I asked myself that. But what I also encourage, like what I'm going to do just to give more I don't know, I pick challenging stuff that I might not want to be participating in if my mind wasn't right in the right place to have creative juices flowing. I was going to take a really very simple, straightforward memory, and then see what I can do with that in terms of something metaphorical rather than a heartbreak, right? But I am moved by Honey's poem. And so I'm like, ooh, maybe I should take something big and then do the opposite, right? Make it into something really small. But I think picking something very simple and then, turning it into something, explaining
want
it.
us- You want us to think of this as a poem, what we're writing.
Or any kind of writing, because I don't
Any
believe
kind of
in
writing.
poems. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't believe in poems being a certain structure or like filling a certain kind of mold. So I think if you want to write about whatever and see if it comes out poetic, like Hanif wrote a poem, but it shows up in paragraph form, and it's just his thoughts out loud. So however you want to do that, but it is a tough prompt. So I would just take a simple memory and then see, do you want to further describe it with vivid images and memory details, or do you want to turn it into a metaphor? So, and if you don't like this, you can just write about whatever you want related to memory. This is just like a guiding idea. I know I like prompts at some instances and others I don't, but we can try for about 20 to 25 minutes and then come back.
Day. This poem was sad in there. Okay. Here, come on, because I got something to do. My dog. Okay. I gotta find. Baby, baby, baby. Baby, baby, baby. Girl. It's kind of nice back. What's he doing now? What is he doing? It's supposed to be Saturday. baby. I don't want that job. I don't want that job, Donovan. Nobody to help. Hurry up, y'all.
Yeah, let's do a couple more minutes till 1:25. All right, we want to bring it back. How was that experience for folks? And or who felt like they had enough time to write? Maybe it's the better question. I was struggling to get what I wanted out. Anybody? Miss Linda, did you write?
I'm sorry,
Did you write a lovely poem for us?
I did not. I apologize. I've been listening. This is very helpful to me, but I write rants all day.
I know this is a good change, a good shift up of your
And
schedule.
I'm like, my mind is like, but
Yeah.
I love listening and I make notes. So in my journal for the future.
Yeah. This, as Karen said, this one was hard. It was hard for me too. And I have to read through like 35 grants between last week and this whole month, and I've saved it to the last 2 weeks. So I'm evaluating like 35 different the same grant, but 35 applicants, and it's very brutal. So I'm gonna give myself that excuse as to why I didn't get where I wanted.
Shame.
I had like 3 different ideas and I tried to like morph all of them, but it didn't really go far. But Karen, what is your?
Karen has something good for us. Let's hear Karen.
It turned out not to be as hard as I thought it was going to be. I had to go and refresh some lyric in my mind, and I may work that into the poem later, but you know, you got to worry about fair use. So I can't put a lot of it in there. Let me read you what I've got. The title is Soundtrack. Sometimes song snippets get stuck in my head, bits of tune and lyric that pop in when my brain is not actively engaged and is free to wander. The tune hummed as I go about the day. The soundtrack of my life, I like to call it. I have fleetingly thought I should chart them for just one day, looking for portents and meaning in the songs like the ones in Final Destination movies, quirky juxtaposition to grisly fates to come. The tune most often on repeat these days is My Life by the Beatles from 1965. No hidden meaning there. The last few weeks have been especially sad. Losses of poets I've known, celebrities and friends. The political ads stirring up old wounds. Medicare ads constantly reminding me of my age and how short my remaining time might be. No wonder melancholy has made itself comfortable on the couch. It plans to be here for a while.
Moved in with you.
Good. Callie on the couch.
That was a great image.
I was compelled to come up with something. I've got salon this weekend. You gotta come up with a poem, so.
You're muted.
Hmm?
You're muted.
Fariha, you're muted.
Sorry, I was saying when you started, what was your process, and did your end product surprise you?
Well, I just, I went off of, we were talking about memory, and then of course the song popped into my head again, and I'm like, okay, go back and look at the lyrics, and then the lyrics helped spark some of the other things, because I don't know if you know this song, but there are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better, some have gone and some remain. And all these places have their moments with lovers and friends I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living and blah, blah, blah. So I went on from there with the fact that there's no hidden meaning in that being part of the soundtrack that's playing in my head now. So, yeah.
Nice. So do you think your lyrics took you, like, were your impetus kind of like to get you going, or were you already kind of going?
Well, just the fact, as I mentioned in the poem, that there are often songs that are running through my head. I'm song oriented. And so there are often songs running through my head, like some people hum when they're not actively engaged mentally, and other people sing snippets of songs, and they'll come back again and again, day after day. And that's why I said, like, the soundtrack of my life. Another song may pop in there later today, but, I need to keep track of them just one day and see what's going on, But a lot of times it is because of external factors have brought that lyric and song to mind and keep it on a running track whenever my head's not actively engaged in a task.
I have many different thoughts, but I appreciate you sharing and tying something else in and having something that's not like, I wrote 3 different things, and the last one that I actually went with, which I didn't want to go with, was like unnecessarily heavy. So I appreciate what you shared. Other folks want to share before we wrap up?
I'll share. This is a moment from my life because I have this 15-year-old car that I've got to replace and the process of doing it. And I'm taking off from the last poem we read about, the guy looking at his picture and what tree fell. And it just carried on with sort of this cycle of life and all good things come to an end. I call this the ode to my Toyota. Bang, I felt the thud. The brakes were instinctive. Oh no, the crushed black panel. And then the kind people who assured me they were okay. That was a memory of the car crash. You were fixed, and now years later we part. Repairs too costly to warrant. Do you bear the scars inside your rusty frame? Do we say goodbye? Do I say I'm sorry? Gone but not forgotten, as the tombstones say. You take a part of my life with you, but as my mechanic tells me, it's time to move on.
Oh, good.
So moving on from the car I love so much.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm trying to like dig further into your poem, but I don't know if I'm supposed to. So I'm trying to pause. I'm like, no, just keep it to what it is. Thank you for sharing. And I also am glad you got to like be here for the writing part today.
Yeah.
And kind of listen.
Yeah.
And I still want to give an opportunity for anybody else before we close out who wants to share just really anything about their process or what they wrote or any of that really.
Marion or Mary?
No, I don't want to share anything, but I did enjoy just kind of writing down some of the ideas. So I'm hoping to get as good as the previous speaker about the car.
Yeah,
It was very visual.
It's very.
It doesn't sound serious, but it is serious to me, and I'm very melancholy about parting with this car.
It's way too familiar to me. Okay.
You've all been there.
I think
Yeah.
you touched all of us. Marion, do you want to share something before we sign off?
no, I better keep it to myself.
Okay.
I enjoyed her thoughts about her car. That was very good. Thanks for having me at the workshop. I enjoyed it.
Well,
It's been
hopefully you
great.
guys will tune into our next one.
Okay.
Also, Linda, did you want to tell them about April's First Tuesday Tea? Because that's coming up soon.
That is, and here I want to invite you also to attend. I know you're not a senior, but you've been an inspiration to many of us. So if you would like to come, please let me know so I can get you on the list. And actually, it's next Tuesday. And we are, after 2 years, having our first Tuesday tea in person. And we're celebrating 35 years, our birthday.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And also, we are sharing the new renovations that we have been doing the past 2 years. So you know that we've been working hard for the community, and we're really proud of what's been done. If you have not let me know that you're attending, I need to know quickly because I only have about 20 slots left. We have a limited COVID capacity, mask required, and we're also asking you bring your vaccination card to be checked. So, Karen, I think you've RSVP'd.
okay, good. If I haven't, because I was getting ready to get off and call as soon as
Yes,
I got
and
done
Marion,
here.
I have yours,
Thank you.
and I don't have yours, Lucia. Are you coming?
I think I may be out of town that day.
Oh,
I know, I hate it. I hate it, but
oh yes, because we always look forward to seeing you.
I know, I've always loved them, and to have them back in person is fantastic. If that changes, I'll let you know soon, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it.
And Mary, I'm not sure if I have anything or if you're planning to attend, but please plan on attending. We're going to have a couple surprises. We're going to, it's going to be a celebration, and we have box lunches for everyone.
Okay.
So will you be able to make it there?
I'll double check, or I can check now too. I won't need food probably because I'll be observing Ramadan starting Sunday or Monday this week. So I
Oh,
won't
that's
need that. You don't need to
right.
order. Yeah, you don't need to order anything for me.
Right.
But I should be available. I'm double checking now too. And I know it's in person. And what time do you think it'll start, since it probably starts earlier than 12?
No, it starts at noon
Okay.
and it'll end about 2 because
Yeah,
of,
I should be able to come for like an hour. I don't know if you recommend the first hour or the second hour.
which I think the first would be the best if you could.
Okay. Yeah, there's a conference I was going to attend, and then a 4 o'clock call I have. The conference is virtual, and so is my Ohio Arts Council call. But I can definitely come by, and I have it on my calendar, so that's great.
Okay, we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Do you also want me to RSVP on the website?
I'm gonna go ahead and put you in.
Okay.
Thank
Give me
you.
the extra clearance, the extra whatever 20 years I need to pass the cut.
And Mary, are you able to attend?
Yes. Blanche, I called and put Blanche and myself on, but I would like to add, if she hasn't done it, Nancy Thomas.
Okay, I'll add Nancy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next Tuesday. And hopefully you see you can make it. If not, we'll miss you.
Yeah, and I think Miss Linda and I are going to be talking about what 2 days in April, which ideally 2 Tuesdays in April we'll be meeting here on Zoom for the rest of our mini workshops.
Yes, and we will get that information out to everybody.
So I hope to see all of you there, especially Miss Lucia, since I know you're not going to be available next week. So hopefully we see you again on Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Bye.
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 Thank you.